Philosophy and Religion. By Rick Delmonico. Every creature seeks value at the expense of truth, and behavior results from the perception of value in state space. The payoff could be simple, or it could contain a variety of features that extend into the future as possibilities. If you want to understand the world, ask great questions. The art of religious observation is in understanding human nature and discovering the majesty of creation. All laws are emergent, they cannot be deduced, they must be discovered, and no one knows how many of these laws exist. Foundational principles. Nature is lazy, it likes to copy. Everything is information. Information is not stuff, it is relationships. All behaviors are constrained by relationships. All behaviors are emergent. Every engine takes advantage of a difference. Everything is an approximation of something else. Ratio may be the only thing that is discrete. Behavior is built from a quantum of action in a field. The bending of space-time is a variation of scale. If dimensions are virtual in the same way that the dimensions of consciousness are virtual, then the density of information in a field will affect the scale or bending of space-time. Gravity and scale are related. Gravity and information are related. Information and scale are related. If it's relational, there's a geometry involved. Truth as a scale coordinate, truth lives in the macro world, the micro world is uncertain. Truth as a time coordinate, truth lives in the past, the future is uncertain. Information from the micro future is formed into a macro past. The process of formation involves entanglement. Coffee and cream as a process of mixing a difference, as a metaphor for a decision engine. 1. Separate and highly compressible. 2. Complex and rich with structure. 3. Homogeneous and once again, highly compressible. Nature is lazy, it likes to copy. In very simple terms, we can see that energy always takes the laziest path. In context, it becomes difficult to observe each of these paths along with the influence that combined energetic states have upon one another. The possible paths are not infinite, they are fractal. Lightning bolts exist within a potential and never make a U-turn. The principle of least action in state space includes the idea of reiterative functions. Another way of thinking about this would be repeating a simple rule over and over. As it branches out into state space, we begin to see emergent phenomena that we are unable to predict. Everything is information. Information is a difference that can make a difference. As the symmetry of any particular association increases, the amount of information decreases. Potential requires a difference. A perfect sphere looks the same from every angle. A perfect sphere of infinite dimensions looks the same from every angle at every scale. So it is difference that matters. Sameness combines the identity of a thing until no distinction can be made. Without a difference or distinction, nothing happens. Information is not stuff, it is relationships. The material world is made of something we can't quite put our finger on. It appears to be the arrangement of stuff. This stuff is a condensation of energy, or what we call matter, along with radiation, which is, in the case of photons, pure energy as a field of potential. A photon at rest is said to have no mass, but it can also be stated that it doesn't exist, but its energy is absorbed by the electron, which is also never completely at rest. All of the matter in the universe is in motion in relationship to something else. All of the information in the universe is stored in the relationships, which are always changing. What we think of as the total amount of information can only be considered to be approximately conserved because the levels of distinction are fractal. All behaviors are constrained by relationships. Any repeatable behavior we can measure is the result of an emergent law. We cannot deduce these laws with pure reason, they have to be discovered. The more constraints applied to any particular association, the less approximate or more precise the result. Something that could be considered to be absolutely static could be considered to be completely constrained. Anything that could be considered to have no constraints could be considered unmeasurable. In order to make a measurement, we need a relationship. So constraints are a facet of relationships, and relationships are a facet of constraints. All behaviors are emergent. Because all laws are emergent, all behaviors that we can measure are also emergent. Without the lawful regularities in a system, we would have no reference frame in which to measure anything. These lawful regularities appear to be self-organizing properties of the universe itself. In other words, the universe appears to be acting as if it were a living system in a stream of energy. We cannot say with any certainty that the universe is a closed system. Every engine takes advantage of a difference. There is no proper description of what the engine could possibly be, but we can say that this engine requires a difference between two or more things. We are also unclear as to what these things might be. If it is two or more aspects of information, then we could say that the symmetry of one aspect, truth, and the symmetry of another aspect, pure randomness or self-referential noise, would be a good description of the engine. Order out of chaos as in the Big Bang model and life from dead material as in the biogenesis theorem cannot be considered a good explanation because it assumes that the engine is operating in a purely random fashion with no proper description of the organizing principle or even where the energy or difference could possibly have arisen. We can say that the universe is expanding, but beyond that are the principles yet to be discovered. Everything is an approximation of something else. Quantum field theory says that everything is constructed from waves of potential and nothing is discrete in the absolute sense. Location in space and time can also be considered to be subject to emergent properties of these fields. There is no possible way to describe a wave in absolute terms, and the thing we think of as a particle cannot be described as being in a particular location with a particular momentum. We can only give a range of possibility. In terms of information, this is very much like the levels of description in a complex arrangement of relationships where the surface levels have simple descriptions and the deeper levels become too chaotic to describe. We have to consider our frame of reference within any description, and so, context becomes important in any measurement. Ratio may be the only thing that is discrete. How can we consider a wave of potential to have discrete properties? These waves exist in some number of dimensions and transfer energy in discrete packets. The relationship of each wave to the other in one or more dimensions can be described as action crossing a barrier in stepwise increments. Under these conditions, the laws of conservation can only be approximate, not discrete. Behavior is built from a quantum of action in a field. The dimensions of space-time are built up from these discrete packets of energy, which are always transferred in the laziest possible way. With sound or light, the origin might be a simple spherical wave, but as it moves through the environment, the complexity increases because absorption, reflection, diffraction, and refraction. This is information about the source, the journey, and the space. The bending of space-time is a variation of scale. No reference frame is static. This includes the dimension of scale because it is the information in the reference frame that creates the scale, and the information is not static. The idea is that a region of space with more matter has denser space and a region of space with less matter has denser time. Clocks tick slower near stars and faster in emptier space. Here we must include levels of description where we might think of the deeper levels have increasing cycles of time looping back and forth. In other words, the quantum foam. In terms of descriptions, the energy is so high that no description is possible. If dimensions are virtual in the same way that the dimensions of consciousness are virtual, then the density of information in a field will affect the scale or bending of space-time. The idea here is that information in a conscious setting or state space would have the properties we see in the natural world. We can describe the volume of a black hole by the information on its surface. What happens to the dimensions of space-time at the center of the black hole has not been described properly. If there are fractal properties involved, then the scale is compressed into finer and finer levels of description in the dimensions involved. As we approach the center, pressure and energy may increase, but clocks would slow down as the force of gravity cancels itself out in the various directions or dimensions, unless it is the pressure gradient of time and space that create this thing we call gravity. The information inside the black hole has been compressed. The presence of an event horizon suggests that the information is at maximum compression. There are event horizons at every scale. In terms of holography, the information could be in more than one location. Gravity and scale are related. Gravity and information are related. Information and scale are related. If it's relational, there's a geometry involved. The structure of reality is a computational geometry that is fractal in nature. Space-time is built up from a process of computation. The properties include both holographic features and reiterative geometries. It is also possible to describe consciousness in the same manner. Scale is about the amount of information in the field. There are nested hierarchies that follow power scaling laws where the amount of information or energy goes up as we zoom in. Truth as a scale coordinate, truth lives in the macro world, the micro world is uncertain. Truth as a time coordinate, truth lives in the past, the future is uncertain. If we think of truth in terms of symmetry, we could say that truth is like a perfect sphere of infinite dimensions that follows a fractal power scaling law, so that, no matter what scale we look at, it always looks the same, and the same for every angle. No difference, no energy. Information is a difference that can make a difference, truth is information that doesn't change, and self-referential noise is a difference that doesn't make a difference. Information from the micro future is formed into a macro past. This is a simple description of the engine of reality. This seems very much like an equation that is solving a question with knowledge being the material expression or output. The past is material, the future is possibility. The process of formation involves entanglement. In the processing of information, entanglement becomes an important feature in the sense that the output or material expression is connected across the entire system. This is not homogeneous, because that would not contain very much information. If the entire universe were connected by black holes, time and space would have no meaning, one location would be every location. There is an organizing principle using entanglement in a very sophisticated manner. It is as though it is testing state space for the highest possible value. Coffee and cream, 1, separate, 2, complex, 3, homogeneous. We could call this order and chaos as a metaphor. There is only one division or two things that create a potential. In the process of mixing, the information needed to describe the system goes up until it reaches a maximum and then goes back down until it is a perfectly random combination. The information at both ends of the process are compressible, with the middle state being the most complex. If everything is information or consciousness, then we cannot rule out the idea of a creator. What we observe in nature can be divided into simple descriptions, complex descriptions, and things we haven't figured out how to describe. I will argue that even the simple things have their place in a very complex web of associations. So really we could say that the universe is irreducibly complex. Our descriptions of the universe are also complex in the sense that the descriptions are arranged in nested hierarchies. The fine-tuning problem would suggest that this is the case. All living systems begin life with predispositions. Living systems will test state space seeking value. As they do this, they are building a map of the environment. The map is tuned to value, not truth. If the universe is behaving in the same manner, then we should expect some form of organizing principle to be in operation with consciousness as a key feature. Human nature and the will to power. Organizations with any significant level of power always attempt to consolidate more power. Power corrupts. What happens when the average human becomes drunk on power? Power is addictive. All of the criminal behavior by those in power is caused by the stupidity of addicts. Human nature is complex and unpredictable. Self-organization often causes power structures to become less and less ethical. The psychopath has the advantage of choice. Both law and ethics are governed by constraints. Any person selling human virtue and human achievement is either stupid or manipulative. The ability to govern ourselves in an ethical manner failed from the beginning, and so, we must look to a higher authority for guidance. Human nature has a dark side, a beastly nature, lusting for power. It also has the potential for greatness, but this greatness must be measured by something higher than human standards. God as a concept. We each have our own experience of the world, and no one can say with absolute certainty that they understand where we are and why we are here. Humans seem to have a necessity to convince others to believe as they do. All belief systems are filters. If we had unfiltered perception, a belief system would be unnecessary. I think of innocence as unfiltered perception. You cannot trust the word of a person who has never experienced God. They cannot give a proper explanation of the concept of God. They have no business trying. They should stick to what they know best and leave the matter alone. The only way to know God is to experience God from your own experience and understanding. This requires a bit of humility, because you have to admit that you are deficient in some aspect of your being. That is difficult to do for those that have been trained to see the word from a material perspective. God as a person. God would, by necessity, have certain attributes such as wisdom, ethics, and moral judgment. God would not be whatever we say he is. We measure value from the perspective of flawed perception, but God as a person would not be hindered by the complexity of the natural world. Any choice God would make would be governed by his attributes. If God has the ability to feel love, this would be a higher level of purpose for a creator in relation to his creation. Love is the connecting of complementary expression and shared intimacy or intimate disclosure. If we chose to reject God, we will probably not have an experience of God, at least not in this life. The abyss. You can choose, because of free will, to stare into the abyss. If you do this long enough, it will stare back at you, change you, and mold you into the beast of material reality that the materialist claims to have arisen from the slime. You could also choose to make a conscious connection to your Creator as you understand him. We only have our choices and experiences as a guide, but if God is real, he will begin to mold you and shape you into a spiritual creature, the image of his Son.